Hey, bonjour. Hey, it's Mr. Anderson again. Um, Coming to you live, not live, coming to you from my house. Uh, I pulled up a different picture this time. Uh, this one, you may recognize the artist, probably an artist of the week last year, Claude Monet. Oh, well, this is a great example of a 1 point perspective and an example that kind of I'm going to kind of talk about big picture here for our project. We're going to continue on our 1 point perspective, but in this painting, a couple things to make note of. First, that it is all following, you know, a 1 point perspective type picture. The all the lines are going to a vanishing point somewhere behind this building at the end of the boardwalk. This painting Claude Monet made back in 1870 called the Boardwalk of Trouville. Um, the thing is, when he was out painting this, Monet would usually be out, painting it live, like as he was seeing it. He would be sitting there on the boardwalk with his easel and his canvas and painting. He wouldn't have necessarily, sat there and used rulers and uh, pinpointed his vanishing point. These kind of the things that we're doing are kind of tools that, after you've got an understanding of how it works, then when you're out like painting or drawing in real life, uh, these things will be easier to do without um, without all the tools like the ruler and vanishing point and all that. Those things will just come natural, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Um, anyway, we eventually that's kind of my goal is that we could start here in a couple weeks doing, the plan always was at school that when it warmed up, we'd go outside and do some drawing. Uh, Usually it would just be a warm day, like today. I think it's going to be a nice warmer day. Um, and we go out, the bleachers. You probably remember that from sixth grade. I believe we did that. But in this case, there is a little bit of an advantage. We're going to build up to that. Okay, we can build up to a little bit more of a drawing from real life after we get a few of these techniques down. This 1 point perspective, and next week some 2 point perspective. Okay, um, so I've been kind of working on. I didn't do anything to my picture. Well, I haven't gone ahead. Let me pull up our picture of our 1 point perspective real quick. Let's just see where we left off. Um, of course, I've done a couple takes on this, so this actually is a second one. We're gonna start adding some stuff to this. I've still got my rulers, my pencil. I thought about this, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about it next week. Well, I'll say a couple things. These things are possible to do on the computer, right? Um, Maybe I could do a demonstration of this on like Paint. I think all of your Chromebooks have Paint. I'll check on my son to see what you have available. And you can draw lines, and uh, actually, it's kind of fun to do a perspective picture on the computer. Uh, just a couple different options. If you were sitting there going, man, I've used up the end of my pencil. It's the only pencil I had here. The only reason I even think that's a possibility is because of all the pencils I pick up in the hallways, throughout the year. Um, I know that some of you were probably low on pencils, especially at the end of the year. It happens every time. Um, so that is an option. Okay, I'm keeping everything open, right? Uh, so maybe I'll try and do a little thing with that uh, for our next for a 2 point, just as a secondary option. Now, I want to add some more detail to our picture here. I was thinking first on the door. Let's concentrate on this door, and it does look like a door. It does look like it's going back in space, but it's missing some detail. All right, it's missing. It's not missing the depth here, but it's missing a little bit of thickness here. Like there'll be, if you look at your doors, in your house, there's going to be a trim piece around. The doorknob is not going to be flat against the door. It's going to be sticking out. there's going to be some depth if you had glass pane, window. There's going to be some depth in there that you're going to see through. So let's work with that a little bit first. Now I always tend to start at the closest to me, which I'm thinking about this, a line here for a piece of trim. Okay. Again, we want to I was talking about last time, kind of eyeballing where the parallel is on this. I did, I kind of do another little trick here too. My wife reminded me of this, that her teacher had told her. You can kind of line up your ruler and just kind of slide it out like that. See how that kind of works? It helps keep it parallel. So try that trick. If you're not doing real well at kind of gauging the distance, from top to bottom. But I'm always looking at those spots too. I'm always kind of looking everywhere, okay? Which will be important when we start doing still life drawing and stuff like that. I'm always looking at proportions, okay, where things are. Now, I want to draw a line here. I'm going to start at the bottom. Of course, my trim piece will come back out a little bit, okay? Because usually your door trim will stick out onto the floor, probably the thickness of the trim itself. So I am going to come down a little bit below the floor corner line, and then I'm going to go up above the door here. So let's make sure we're all, actually my ruler has that dent in it. Remember, I'm going to flip it over. Let me get this back lined up. Here we go. All right. Now again, a little bit below, a little bit above. Now, I'm going to extend this line as well, okay? And up here, the thickness, the width of the board here is really what you're going to have for your width at the beginning of, your top piece of trim. So I try and, make that about the same. Of course, it shrinks as it gets this direction. It'll be thinner here because we're gonna attach this line again to our vanishing point. Okay. So draw an orthogonal line here, and this time I won't take it all the way to the vanishing point because it's getting a little messy there. Hey, don't forget, I draw these things dark so that you guys can see it well. On this. And I know I mentioned this last time, but I want to reiterate. If you draw it lightly and then, the areas that you have to erase, it'll erase a lot easier. But again, I wanted to make that more visible for you. Okay. Now, another line here for the very bottom of our trim, this line will also go towards the vanishing point. Okay. So let's line this up. It's a real short line, but any line that's not horizontal, any line that's not perpendicular, well, they're going to the vanishing point, right? Now you see I have a little bit here to erase, a little bit of the corner of the room. Let's get rid of that. All right, there we go. Now, you might be thinking, well, it looks kind of weird. It does, because there is some thickness to it, right? There is kind of it sticks out a little bit. So what I need is another line going parallel, perfectly vertical, right alongside of that. And it's going to be kind of thin, right? Let's try it. All right, I'll line my ruler up here. It's right on the edge of my paper. There we go. All right. Always got to be careful, hold the ruler tight. So now I have, let's check it out. Kind of a thin line there. It's showing that it's coming off the wall a little bit, right? Or here, I'm going to just attach these two little lines. Right here, I'll attach right there, okay? You see that? Pretty cool. So this gives a little bit more depth, okay? Now, on the other side, just like we did on this door, we're going to make a vertical line here for the other side, but again, it needs to be a little bit thinner than this is on this side, okay? So when I line that up, I'll just think, oh, it shrinks in space. So I'm going to put it right there. Let's look at that. All right. And erase this arrow. Okay, same kind of idea here. I'll add a little bit of an edge there. Usually the door, there could be a little sliver here, I suppose. You know where the door, oh, it froze up. How long has it been frozen? There we go. All right, freezes up sometimes. This document camera must make the computer run. Hey, sound issues. I noticed those when I replayed our video the other day. I don't know what it is. I turned down the volume on my speaker because I need the speaker on this. So we'll get that figured out. Okay. I'm still kind of messing with the technology here. Okay. Now let's think about this window inside the door. It looks real flat. I'm going to add a little bit of depth to that as well. Okay. What I want to do is get a vertical line here to give that, there might be a little distance between the edge of the door, or the side of the door, and a pane of glass. Okay, so let me go to the other side so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Now in this particular line, I am going to stop a little bit short. Okay, can you see what that did? I know it's really close. It's really, really tight, but it still gives it a little bit of depth. All right, everything isn't so flat on this wall now. It's starting to look a little better. Now here, you know how the things below, okay, this is our horizon line where the vanishing point is. Things below it, the further you get away, the more angled things are, right? Same with above. But here in the middle, this is almost horizontal. We're just a touch below. So I'm going to attach a very small line to our vanishing point going along this ridge, but you're barely going to see any of that because it's just about at eye level. All right, the horizon line is right at eye level. So, oh, I might have bumped the camera in my head. All right, here we go. Line that up. This line, well, it's a little bit thick. I'm going to go a little bit closer even. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. And then up here, I'm going to see it's going to be a little bit more showing because it's up above my eye level. Okay. So I'll try and make this a little bit wider so we see a little bit more of it. Well, there we go. Okay. What do you think? All right. So far, so good. Now, here on the doorknob, remember I talked about this being a oval, but this is flat against the door. All right. We don't probably want to have that pull out a little bit, right? So imagine now that this is the piece that's on the door, and we kind of have a stem that comes out from that. Okay. Of course, there's some erasing involved here of the one side. Let's do that. So it kind of comes out here. And then we'll need another oval, which is going to cover a little bit of my trim here. And then just make that kind of oval. Now you might want to look at your own door and see what the doorknob looks like. This actually isn't, we have kind of leather ones here, but little oval gets the point across, right? Okay, you can make that larger if you want. It's your little room, right? Now, let's think about this other side. This, I was thinking about making this more like a TV, okay? Or it could be an artwork, but same thing. I want to give it a little bit of thickness, and I might give it a little bit more thickness than I did on this door trim, okay? Let's do that. Let me put a line here, going parallel, perfectly vertical line. Now, because this is kind of centered, below. I'm not going to see underneath this because it's below my eye level. I'm not going to see above it because it's above my eye level. So I'm not seeing any of the sides of this. Okay. I'll just see this one side. All right. Now, you could always round that if you wanted, make it more realistic. We could also make this kind of frame it in too. Let's do that. Let me put another, like it has a border. All right. Whoop. Here we go. All right. Let's see what's going on there. Now, I want to kind of keep this border just like we did on the door. I want to keep this width about the same as it is up here when it starts, okay? So, I'm going to line up the bottom of this line to my vanishing point. You see how that's going? I didn't go all the way. Notice I didn't go all the way to the vanishing point, but it was lined up with it. Also, at the top, we'll do that. Line it up with the vanishing point. Look, let me push that so you can see. Okay, and then just like on the door window, we need this width to be a little bit thinner over here. So let's just make sure that is. It gives it that illusion. You don't want to break the illusion. All right. Here we go. Okay. Now you could draw a picture in there. Whatever's on TV. What's on there? Maybe a video game. You got Fortnite. Hey, we might need a little place down here to put the Xbox or PlayStation, whatever. Let's do that. Okay. Whenever we're drawing anything in a one-point perspective, which was what we kind of were doing last year with buildings, like I always say, draw, what the side of a house would look like. Yeah, let me flip it over. If I drew an arrow shape, let's just do a quick arrow shape. Just do it quick. Okay, see it's like an arrow pointing up. And if I have a vanishing point here, and I draw all these lines to the vanishing point, and then I cut off parallel lines, you end up with a house shape. So for this, I want to draw a rectangle with the side of the little cabinet would be. Let's say it's a cabinet. I'm going to make it the exact width of our TV here. And I'm going to draw a line going down. Okay, so this is going to be the back side of this cabinet. I'm going to need a line coming out, and down. I'm drawing a rectangle. Okay, so let's do that. And make sure I'm all parallel with our horizontal lines. Maybe it won't go about that far. All right, let's continue. It's a little deep. It's deep. That's all right. Okay. Let's say deep, but okay. Hey, I'm gonna try this slide thing. All right, I got my ruler here. I'm gonna slide it over, trying to keep it parallel. Remember that? I might only make it that deep. Let's do that. Hopefully I line that. Hopefully it's parallel. All right. Now, here we go. I got a rectangle. Let me erase a little bit so you can really get a view of this. Because the stuff here we're not going to be able to see unless it was a glass cabinet, right? Okay. There we go. Now, I've got the side of it, and I'm going to need to attach orthogonal lines from this corner, and this corner, all the way to the vanishing point. Okay? Now, when I do that, I'm going to end up making this cabinet stop over in here, but we'll take care of that after. Let's first draw our lines to the vanishing point. So from this corner, I might go a little light when we get there. You see that? Okay. Let's go to this corner. See how I put my pencil there and just kind of stop it for me? Now, this corner, the last one. Okay. Oh, I was going to draw it all the way there. It goes all the way there. You can see that. Just like in this area, we're going to have this floor tile disappear because it's not going to be visible because it's not a glass cabinet. There we go. Now, right in, I lined this up. Do you remember I was lining up one side of this? I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to have this cabinet was made just for this TV. They're the exact same size, exact same width. So I kind of came down here and made a little mark. Now I need a horizontal line. Okay, remember the horizontal. I'm going to kind of line it up there. Slide my ruler. I'm going to make sure it looks horizontal. I think that would be. Okay, here. Let's get rid of a couple of these orthogonal lines going to the vanishing point. Let's do that now. Of course, we need a line, a vertical line, to kind of complete this. Okay, so let's just see what we got. Let's just see right here. Let me get ready, and you guys will see what I've got. Now remember, I started this off with this rectangle. I started off with that rectangle, and then ended up, drawing these lines to the vanishing point, and then really mimicking or doing the same thing, making a line that's horizontal, parallel to the top over here, a line that's vertical, which is parallel to the top here. Okay, so again, I think I said in the first video, sometimes I remember in 6th grade, people would tend to lean things over. It was always really hard if we were doing telephone poles or whatever, and people would have it leaning over. Remember, if it's supposed to be vertical in 1-point perspective, make it vertical. All right, you're trying to make it parallel to the side of your paper, which is perfectly vertical, and anything that's horizontal is parallel to the bottom of your paper, which is horizontal, right? All right. I'm trying not to say right as much. Did you notice I say it all the time? Anyway, let's see if I can go without saying right for a little while. Now, you could put some shelves in here. Maybe we'll just do one shelf. Hey, just like we kind of have thickness, this box right now just looks like could be any kind of box, but let's kind of open it up on the inside. You need somewhere to put that Xbox or PlayStation. So first I want to add a little thickness to these balls, let's say. So they, of course, line up with our vanishing point. Can you see what I did there? Just like I did on this door trim. I'm just giving it some thickness. All right, I'm going to do the same thing up top. That's good. Now notice I didn't go all the way to the ends. Remember, I'm going to put a line coming down here. All right, well, I tried to slide this over. There we go. There we go. And then, of course, on the other side, we want that to appear even thinner. It might be really, really thin, like that. Okay, now I've given it a little bit of thickness, but inside we still have things, there's going to be things going on in here. First, before I draw the bottom corner, I want to see where it goes. I'm going to put a shelf. I'm going to put a shelf in here. And I was thinking this line is about perfect, which was the corner of our room. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to put that line back in. And I'm going to give it a little bit of thickness. Meaning I'm going to draw 2 lines right next to each other. What do you think? It's starting to look like a little shelf to put your games on. Now, there's a couple lines missing here, though. Let me show you what's missing. Right here, we need a line that we're going to see the side of the shelf here, and we also need a line over here. There is a chance, and I could check this. If I go to this same height over here, if I line my ruler up, I'm going to see a little bit of the back of this wall. Let's do this. I'm going to go about right there. Okay. I'm going to make a little bit of a vertical. Oh. I don't know if it's going to be that much showing. You know, that might not show. Let's get rid of that. Let's draw a horizontal line in here that was just showing. Okay. Another one down at the bottom, right at the corner of this. Right at the corner. Okay. See, we can't see in here, but we can see it in here. Now, I'll need a line going from our vanishing point along the back here, which will show a little bit of the back of our cabinet, unless you fill it up with stuff. And down here, I think there's a sliver showing. It's a little bit lower. All right, you see that? What do you think? Then you could, right in here, you could draw a little Xbox in there, right? And hey, I said right. Don't forget, you just look at what would it be like on the side, you know, a rectangle, and then attach it. You could put one up here, you know, a little rectangle. Draw it on there. Draw it to your vanishing point. Now we still have a few minutes. I wanted to show you a real basic kind of a chair. Same thing. Let's keep this simple. Let's almost make it kind of like an L shape. I'm going to draw a line. Let's bring it out here. I'm going to draw a vertical line. Look right? Means a little bit. And now I'm going to draw a horizontal line out here. I'm going to keep this real simple, but you could always take this shape and change it into something. Okay. I'm going to draw this one. I'm going to get in there and make that a little more parallel. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that looks better. It's just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. Now, remember I'm kind of making a block L. Block shape L. You'll be able to see it here in a second. I'm going to get rid of some of the lines in here in a second with my eraser. Let's bring that down. Let's bring this over. Okay. You can see a block shaped L. I'm imagining that this could turn into like a chair. But I'm kind of boxing it in first. All right, you see that? Now, I'm going to go ahead and attach the lines here to the vanishing point. It looks like it's just a hair below our horizon line, just barely. Now I need another line to this corner for it. I need another line to this corner for it. See what's going on here. And then need another line from the bottom corner. Now, again, I'm drawing real heavy. I'm going to have to erase a lot of this. Now, I'm going to have this go. Why not? We'll just have this whole bench go all the way to the back wall. So I'm going to use that line here as the end of this. So I'm going to need a horizontal line coming off of this. Let's line up, see how horizontal we can get. Okay, now it's a little cluttered in there. Let's get rid of a little bit of this so you can see it. Let's get rid of a little bit of this out here so you can see it. Going all over the back wall here. Whoa, sorry, this little table shakes. Okay, also need another line that's vertical to end this. Now I know last year, I don't know if I showed everybody, but on our street scene, you could always draw in, you know, if you were drawing a street, you could block in an area to draw a car. So imagine this is just blocked in, and then I'm going to add some curve to it, okay? Let's just imagine I kind of match these curves up. You know, I could get rid of these corners. Doesn't look so boxy. You could do something like that at the top too. Maybe curve it. I can curve it over here as well. Again, get rid of some of the boxiness of it. You could always, you can make it look like a gaming chair, you know, put, I don't know, speakers on there and everything. You could put feet on it, you know, to make it look like it's not sitting right on the ground. Of course, if you do that, you got to move this corner up here. You're going to do that. You could easily draw a line across here, put a couple of feet. You could easily make this look like, you know, a different kind of chair altogether. You could put arms on there. Anyway, I kind of blocked in something that you could kind of block it in and then draw within those parameters. I've about used up all my time for this session. Again, next week, we're going to do a 2-point perspective. So whatever you get on this picture, go ahead and take a picture of it. You know, if you can use your camera on your Chromebook, great. If you have another means, great. And send it to me, okay? Just send it through email. I'll check it. That'll be kind of the way I'm going to see if you're participating, okay? And if there's any troubles, like anything, just let me know, all right? We'll make adjustments as needed for this remote learning. And like I said, I'll try and show you real quick, maybe on next week. I'll make a note of it to just show you how you could do this on your Chromebooks if you have that Paint or a Draw app, which I'll check that out too this weekend. All right, so well, just let me know if there are any questions. Usually I ask you right off, right? Usually on live. So let's exit out of here. I was about to say bye before I even shut off. I'm going to X that out. I need to go, I need to X this out. Go here. And as they say in France, au revoir.